For this one here, this is chapter 9, section 1, problem 34. Number of hours 10 students spent studying for a test, and the scores on the test are shown in the table below. Is there enough evidence to include there is a correlation between the data? The level of significance is 0.01. So we're testing to see if there's a correlation in the data. If there is, it's not a correlation, then R would be equal to 0. So we have our row here for R equal to 0, or it's not equal to 0. There's some correlation here. So we end up setting up a two-tailed test. Okay. And then the next part here, they want us to find the critical values. So in this case here, for the rejection region, it's going to be in half. It's a two-tailed test, so it'll be half of 0.01 on one side and half on the other side. So we can open it up. We can find out what those critical values are. But going into StatCrunch, going to Stat and Calculators and T. In this case here, the degrees of freedom. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So n is 10. Degrees of freedom is going to be n minus 2. So 10 minus 2 is 8. So the degrees of freedom here is 8. And we're going to the left, so that'll give us a negative answer there. And it'll be half of 0.1, 0.01. And we see what that's going to be. You end up with a negative 3.355. In this red area, that's the rejection region. So if our test statistics lands in here, we reject the null hypothesis. Okay. And then we can switch it here. If we switch it for symmetry, we can show the other side on the positive side. Pointing to the right, 0.005. And we'll see what happens there. We have the positive. So those are our critical values there. So if it falls in between these boundaries here, then we failed to reject the null hypothesis. Now we have to find our test statistic. Now we can go to regression here for the data. So we can stat and regression, simple linear, select the variable x and for the variable for y. So it's already set up there for 0. And then we hit compute. So we're interested in the test statistic that goes with the slope. And that would be located right here. Okay. And you can see what has occurred. It has a very, very rare, small probability. So something's going on here. So that goes with our test statistic. So we put that in for our test statistic. And where does that fall? That's going to fall in the rejection region. It's greater than 3.3. So we end up rejecting the null hypothesis. There is enough evidence to conclude that there is a correlation. So we reject the null hypothesis, and there is enough evidence to conclude that there is a correlation here. Okay. Because it's smaller than the level of significance. So there is a correlation.